2 miles every 2 days. So I go, well, 3 times a week. I go out in the evenings and I run 2 miles.
Wow.
And I get back to keep fit. I said, it's not something I have always done before. I don't like being lazy, but it's something I decided, no, I have to do it.
Yes.
And the dedication, the will, the perseverance, the aching and the legs, you wake up the following day, it's painful, and you do it again.
You see, my problem is culture.
Yeah.
When something becomes a cultural practice, it is very difficult to break away from it. Do you think that is the reason why a lot of people stick after their formal education? The best option that comes into their mind is to have a job?
Yeah, because straight from formal education, the only option is for you to get a job. I mean, if we don't know any.
Because we haven't even come to the entrepreneurship yet.
No, we haven't. Well, that's the only option, because it's like a very long tube. You know how they say there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's like a tunnel. So the education is like a tunnel. You started from when you were going to day old or whatever it is, and you pass through the entire system, and then you finish GCSE, you go to university if you make it there, and that's the end of the tunnel.
But it sounds prestigious, isn't it, to even?
It does, and by the time you're finishing your university, you're already applying for jobs, because that is the path that is given to you. That's the path that is shown. At the end of that whole journey is the university that is next. Sorry, job that is next, applying for jobs. And so you just naturally follow that path. So, and of course there are very, very good creative jobs. I mean, people people work hard and they get to the highest point in a position, etc. So in such way, those people are fulfilled financially as well. So in that sense, it is good. In that sense, I mean, in that sense, it's good. But
how many of them?
Well done. Is what is the proportion of people that make it to that top job in the civil service or in their industries? I mean, it's only few people.
For me, I call it the pyramid, right? The basis accommodates too many people. In the middle, the number decreases, and in the top, very few. So at the base are the people, for example, that you see at the Tesco shop floor. Too many of them.
With all respect for those people.
Yes, exactly. But they are on the shop floor. But they are the least paid. But they do all the hard work.
Exactly.
Right? When you go to the middle, that is the team leaders, the supervisors, the managers. These people are a little bit okay, but still struggling because the money is still not enough. But when you go to the top, where you can have a very, very good life, that is where the board of directors are, the senior management, the CEOs. It accommodates very few people. So how do you get there? So it means that formal education actually is not doing people good, because if you have too many people at the shop floor, paid less, then why do we have to waste all these years for formal education?
And the question you're putting is right. Why do we have to waste all the years? It's because we are trying to think outside of the box. But a lot of people, they don't think outside of the box, because it's a culture, you mentioned before, it's a way of life. I mean, people are born in debt, they live in debt, and then they die in debt. It's a cycle. They have to follow it.
So it's because what they are earning is not enough.
I mean, in
or is the system?
In this day and age, if you don't earn £4,000 in a month in a household after tax, you're basically living in debt. Because if you mathematically work it out, the lowest denomination of the British currency is 1p. Right, so it means if you calculate your income, you must be earning at least 1p a second, because second is the smallest denomination of time. So you need to earn 1p per second for you to be able to earn up to £4,000. So in a month. So if you look at how many hours you work in a day, in a week, in a month, and you factor it out, and you're not getting up to £4,000. You're basically living in debt, and it's as simple as that. So if you then look at the
that's interesting.
If you then look at the British society, and indeed any society in the world, I mean that you're unable to earn the lowest denomination. So we are looking at people like you're talking about in Tesla and indeed so many other establishments that are not earning by the time they factor it out.
No.
They are not even earning up to 1p.
Maybe one p per 10 seconds, isn't it?
And that's it. So you see that a lot of people are living in poverty. We're living in debt. It's a culture of debt, and that's the only way the society can be run. And the economy can be run that way.
I think there's more work to be done, isn't it?
Surely there is.
Because people are not getting this. And one thing I've seen is that people fight change. Even when people hear people talking about financial education, they don't want to know because they want to stick to their old ways of financial education that they know.
Well,
but the point is that one of the main aims of formal education is for financial freedom. Why is financial education not taught in school? As far as I know, or is it taught in schools now?
Well, no. One of the aims of financial education, of formal education, is not to teach financial education. It's not. Because if you teach financial education, everybody will become entrepreneur, investors, and businessmen. And
so is that why they are not doing it?
Yeah, so you can't teach that. However, if you go to...
But that is not fair, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, it's not.
I think I want to have the right word to use, not to offend anybody. But I would like our listeners to understand that, listen, we are not saying formal education is not good. But we are trying to get the bigger picture of what actually, and what we are saying is the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, this man, Derek Bock, who used to be the Vice Chancellor at Harvard University, said, and a lot of people use the quotation, but they don't know who said it. Derek Bock is his name. And he said something in the lines of, if you think education is too expensive, why not try the cost of ignorance? And that's where people dwell, because a lot of people dwell within that frame. And if you think about someone in the spheres of Derek Bock, who do they teach? They teach the children of the rich people, the children of the 5% in Harvard and things like that. And these are the same people who are exposed to those big corporations and political appointments, etc. And so people, because when people then follow this whole tube, this whole channel, etc. of education, they become comfortable because they've carved out a niche for themselves in that, if we put it that way. So going back to what you said earlier about change, so therefore people are resistant to change. They don't want to change because that is what they already know. So they stick to what they know because they feel that is their comfort zone. And if they step into an area which they are not sure of what is going to happen, then they become so apprehensive, so they don't want to dare it. And that is what makes the difference between successful businessmen, the rich ones, who are ready to take risks and be able to become successful. Because if you don't take risks, then you're not going to find out if it is good or not good. And so that's the end. So a lot of people, 95% of people, are not ready to take risks. They are ready to work for the 5%. They are ready to work for those 5% of people who are ready to take the risk, and they're quite willing to make money for those people. And that's what's going on. So people in the top corporations who are the board of directors, etc., will fight change, will fight any competition. Because if you think about it, I made an example earlier, that when we go to school, we're at home, our parents tell us what to do when we're younger. We get to school, teachers tell us what to do. We get a job, your boss tells you what to do. And you get to you married, and it's a different thing who tells what
probably your missus even tell you what to do.
So, and if you look at that, who taught your parents, born in the 95% group, they live in a culture of debt, okay? And then you get to school, are your teachers rich? No, they are not. So they also pass on to us their own type of education, even when they advise us. It's also in the same context.
It's like the rich dad, poor dad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same context of that. And then you get to the office, and your boss, is your boss rich? Maybe yes. But will your boss teach you how to make the money? No, because you will stop making the money for them, and you become their competition.
Yes.
So they will not teach you, and that's why the guys at the top fight to change. They don't want.
I think you are giving too much information. This is really serious, because there must be a paradigm shift. And when these discussions these kind of topics are being discussed, I think it's for those that are hungry to change.
Definitely.
That really gets the message.
Yeah.
Because you cannot continue. I was saying to somebody, for how long can you continue to work for somebody?
Yeah.
For example, over 2 decades or a decade, you've had this experience in this field. Can it be translated for you to be on your own? Why do still people stay in there till pension?
Well, even the pension, you're not sure if it's secure or not.
That's the thing.
It's completely. I mean, that's the thing. Is it comes back to trying to take risks, and only a few people are willing to do that.
But even these days, if you have a job, it's even more riskier.
It is.
Because people are being laid off left, right, center, all over the place.
Yeah, because there are few people who call the shots. There are people who determine what happens in every organization, in every country in the world, in all the world economies. There are the big guys who say what happens, and once those people need people laid off for their own financial gains, they will do it. I mean, there are people who are losing jobs perhaps because of Brexit, and there are people perhaps who are gaining jobs because of Brexit. We never can tell. The economic, there are lots of indication that perhaps importation is gone up and things like that. We never know. But there are people who lost money because of that. There are people who bet that Brexit is going to be good or whatever. And there are, so on one side of the coin, you see people smiling. On the other side of the coin, you see people who are crying. I mean, there is a very good, in 2012, the BBC aired this interview with one of these very leading business investors, etc. His name is Rostani. And he was talking about how the rich gets rich and the poor gets poorer. And he was making reference to the fact that there are people, even governments of the world, governments of each country don't rule the world. The Goldman Sachs of this world, they are the people who call the shots. These are the people who loan money out to countries, etc. So when they want to cause a recession, they will cause the recession. When they want things to go down, they will make things to go down. And so it's all about people trying to, if they have financial education, trying to tap into those times and knowing that, I mean, there are people crying. A lot of pensioners lost their money in the last recession, 2007, 2008. Northern Rock closed down. People lost their money in Northern Rock. But there were people making huge money during that recession. 2 years ago, the Times published that in this recession, well, in a recession 2 years ago, because Britain never came out of recession, to be quite honest, and then we are in a phase of what is going to happen or not following post-Brexit. And the Times published the article about the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, but there was something there that a huge percentage, I can't remember the exact percentage now, of millionaires, that the amount of people making millions are doubling. It is basically doubling. I mean, so the thing is, why is it in a recession? Because we haven't come out of the recession. So why is it that the amount of millionaires in the country has doubled, and on the other end, a lot of people
are struggling? So
it comes back down to, if the rich carry on doing what the rich does, the rich will always get richer. And if the poor carry on doing what the poor do, the poor will keep getting.
So there must be a transition.
There has to be a transition, and there has to be that paradigm shift which you're talking about. It's just it, because if you carry on doing what you're doing, you're not earning enough, and you carry on doing the same thing, you're never going to earn enough.
But the job market is even very competitive, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Very competitive. Nowadays, before you even get a team leader, then it means that you put in extra everything, time, everything,
money,
energy, to really get there. So the market is competitive. People are fighting to get up the ladder, and it's not easy. So this paradigm shift is what will take us into the entrepreneurial world, right? So we're going to go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will dwell on the entrepreneurial side of our story. Then we will bridge the gap later and see which one is the direction to go. So please don't check the dial. If you have really enjoyed the first segment of our show, please tell a friend to listen to us as well. Don't keep this information to yourself, because Mr. Emmanuel Ajoku is giving too much information. I don't know whether today is his birthday. He's giving too much information, and this information, you and I know you have to pay in the conference to get this information. So please don't change the dial. We are coming back very quickly. Stay blessed.
When I'm in Africa, when I'm in America, wherever I go,
I'll take a quick belly break.